Hello, Fern and I are here to show you how to teach your dog a treat magnet. So a treat magnet is my dog keeping her nose on my hand. I have one treat in my hand and she's going to keep her nose attached to my hand while I move her around. So I'm going to demonstrate how this is going to look. Fern! So she touches my hand and then what I can do is I can move around to different positions. I can maybe move her this way, and she stays attached to my hand trying to get that treat until I release it to her. So she does eventually get the treat, but the idea is I can use this, let's say we're walking down the street and all of a sudden I see another dog and I want to get her away. I can get that cookie on her nose, quickly move her out of the way, and then let's say, put her in a down or something. So this is a great way to move your dog around. I also use it to navigate difficult situations. So if there's a lot of people around, which really jazzes Fern up, I'll use it then. I can use it to get her to come into the house, whatever it might be. So, okay, come here. So to teach this to our dogs, we're gonna start just by teaching them to eat that treat out of your hand. Simple as that. So I want her nose to touch my hand, and I want her to try to get this treat. That's when I'm gonna click. So I'm simply clicking for her eating that treat. So I'm gonna put it in front of her, click as soon as her mouth and her nose gets in contact with my hand. That's the first step. So we're actually reinforcing the behavior of eating a treat. Once you've done that a few times and your dog understands that this cookie under your thumb is for them to eat, now I'm going to start to extend the amount of time that she's trying to get that treat. So rather than clicking immediately, I'm going to pause for like maybe just a second initially and just let her lick at that treat and try to get it. So I'm going to put it like this, click after a second or so of her trying to eat that treat. Good girl. Once I've done that, I'm going to extend the amount of time that I have her trying to get this treat. So rather than a second, maybe we'll do like 3 seconds, then I'll click. Okay, so basically I'm just telling her that you keep trying to get that treat until you finally hear the click and I let you get it. If your dog happens to separate from your hand, okay, so let's say you're going up to 10 seconds now, and you put the treat in front of your dog's nose and they try to get it, and at like 5 seconds they back away. That means it was just too hard for them. So we have to ensure our dogs that if you keep working at this, eventually you're gonna get the treat. If they get frustrated and back away, then they are actually believing that we're not gonna give them that treat. And we don't want them to think that, because we really want them to believe that this treat is gonna be theirs, because it is. We don't want this to be bribery, and bribery means I have a treat in my hand, but I expect you to do a lot of things before you get it. So we're gonna work our way up, so until about 20 seconds, so that you can keep that hand right in front of your puppy or your dog's nose. They're gonna keep trying to get it for about 20 seconds. That's when we're gonna move to the next step. So I would click at 20 seconds, move on to the next step. Now you wanna make sure you're clicking for behaviors you like. So if your dog is using a lot of teeth and you don't like that, then you're just not gonna click for it. You're gonna wait for the moment that they actually use their tongue. And we can kind of troubleshoot if you're having issues with your dog being a little too snarky, trying to get that treat. But I actually like a little bit of force to try to get that treat, because I really want my dog to, be very committed to get the cookie. Okay, so once we've gotten up to 20 seconds, now we're gonna start adding some movement. But we're not doing the amount of movement that Fern and I were doing, at least not initially. I want you to start with an inch or so. So rather than now working on duration, we've already got that, we're up to 20 seconds. Now we're gonna work on distance. Duration is something we're gonna add later on back to the game, okay? So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna get Fern up. I'm gonna put the cookie in front of her nose. I'm gonna move it about an inch. So long as she stays connected, I'm going to click and she gets that treat. So just a little bit, I'm just barely moving it, and I want to make sure she stays connected. If I take that cookie in front of her nose and I go like this and we lose connection, then either you've gone too fast or it's just too hard for them. For some dogs, trying to eat a cookie and walk at the same time is a little challenging. So you really want to help your dog out here. The key is success. So dog stays connected. If they disconnect, we're just gonna make it easier. Okay, so you're just going to keep increasing the amount of distance until you can get a good distance. Then once you've been able to do that, then we can add a little bit of movement just so that we can teach them that they can move their head, they can move their body when we're doing this. So you can maybe do like a little spin. But again, I'm keeping my dog connected to my hand. And ultimately this turns into something, a great tool where I can just stick my hand in front of my puppy, move around, and she's gonna stay connected with me.